If you run an OFM agency stuck below 100K a month, Sophie Rain's numbers should piss you off. She crossed 100 million OnlyFans and less than 15% came from subscriptions. Now, just to repeat that again, 15% came from subs. So today I'm going to show you the exact chatting, whale, and brand systems behind that and how to copy them at your level. I doubt you're making 100 million right now. Maybe you are, then this is the right channel for you. Now, I'll break this into 5 parts for you. 1, why 86% of her money comes from chatting and not subs. 2, the funnel that made the Spider-Man moment worth fucking millions. And 3, her scars to the end big spender strategy. And 4, how she used and then ditched collabs. And 5, as a bonus, how she's building a brand that doesn't need OF. Then I'll show you how to install the same architecture in your agency at your revenue range. But now, I've done 2 videos on Sophie Rain before. One on the whole non-nude strategy of like the virgin branding and one on the Bob House and the content collab loop. If you haven't seen those, they're on my channel. Go watch them, blah, blah, blah. This one is different because I actually went deep. Not just her TikToks and podcasts, but I've actually done some good research this time, but about the actual numbers, the actual timeline and the actual business decisions she's been making in 25 and 26 so far. And what I found is that Sophie Rain, or whoever is running the business, is operating on a level most agencies don't even understand exists. The old common saying, there's levels to the game. There are in fact levels to this game. And if you're running an OFM agency doing 10, 20, 30, 50K a month right now, pay very, very close attention. Because this isn't a Sophie Rain fan video, right? This is a masterclass in how to architect a creator business that actually scales, right? This is just real recognizes real. And I'm gonna say Sophie Rain did this, I mean her management. All right, just so we're on the same page. And trust me, this is the shit that separates 10K agencies from 100K agencies. Trust me on that one. If you want help installing these systems in your own agency, you know where to find me. But let me walk you through Sophie's playbook first. Let's start with the numbers, because the numbers usually tell you everything you need to know. Sophie Rain has 15 million followers on TikTok, 8.7 million on Instagram, about 3 million on Twitter, which that's roughly 27 million people across all of her socials. Out of those 27 million, about 500,000 are paying subscribers on her OnlyFans. Her sub price sits somewhere in the $5 to $10 range. Let's call it a $7 a month on average. 500K times 7 is 3.5 mil a month from subs alone, which sounds like a lot, right? We all wouldn't complain that. That definitely does pay for the rent at some places, except her actual revenue is way higher than that. She did 43 mil her first year, and she crossed 100 mil lifetime by January 2026. Peak month was like 3.4 mil, so where's the rest of that money coming from? Chatting, DMs, PPVs, tips, the chatting operation. Now, roughly 86% of Sophie's revenue comes from chatting, not subs. 14% subs, 86% chatting. The subscription is just the front door, that's the entry. And this is what I've been saying for years and what we install inside OFM OS. Your chatting system is your revenue system. Go back to the first videos on this channel. I've preached about this back when y'all were rocking 2-to-1 chatting ratios. And if you're spending 80% of your energy on marketing and 20% on chatting, you have it backwards. Sophie's 14 to 86 split is the real ratio at scale. Everything you think you know about how she blew up is probably wrong, and the next part is going to prove that. You've probably heard about Sophie Rain's Spider-Man video, right? The viral video of a girl in a Spider-Man suit. Everyone thinks Sophie Rain made it, and that's what made her famous. That's the common consensus out on the street, right? But that's wrong. That wasn't even her. The actual girl in the video was like a different model named Naomi Soraya or something like that. The internet just decided it was Sophie Rain and they just ran with it. Now, Sophie tried to correct people, but nobody believed her, right? So she did the smartest thing possible and she just stopped fighting it and leaned into the entire thing. Her exact words were, every time I said no, they didn't believe me, so I just ran with it. And this is where the genius actually starts. Before the Spider-Man confusion, Sophie was doing about like 20K a month. And after it went viral and she leaned into it, she went to nearly $1 million per month in OF revenue. Literally 50x in revenue almost overnight. That's better than most crypto coins you probably lose money on right now. Here's the part nobody talks about. This Spider-Man moment only printed because the funnel was already built. She already had tens of millions of followers, an active OF with content, a chatting team handling DMs. The machine was ready. The internet just handed her the traffic. Let me make this real for you. Let's say one of your creators goes viral tomorrow. Some reel gets 10 million views out of nowhere. Big fucking reel. If your chatting team sucks, if the OF page is empty, if the welcome sequence is trash, if the pricing is wrong, that virality is worth nothing. You're not gonna get this effect. You're just gonna waste the opportunity of a lifetime. You get a spike of subs who come in, sure. They don't see anything impressive and they're fucking leaving. The viral moment in itself is worthless without the system to capture it. Now, Sophie's system was ready. Most agencies, they're not ready for this. Trust me. They're trying to get viral videos, but they actually don't want it if you see it. That's the difference between 20K a month and $1 million a month. If you ignore everything else in this video, don't ignore this. One decision here is worth more than 10,000 normal subs that you can get. I covered the non-nude angle in my first Sophie Rain video, so I won't repeat it all, but there's a scaling piece I didn't cover that matters. Sophie Rain claims she's never posted nude content. She brands herself as a virgin, a Christian, someone who doesn't do explicit stuff, right? Is it true? Honestly, who gives a shit? What matters is the business effect of the branding. And when you tell 500,000 people you're a virgin who's never shown anything explicit, you create the most powerful force in sales, which is scarcity. Every single sub out of this 500,000 is sitting there thinking one day she might show something. One day she might take it just a little bit further. And until that day comes, they keep fucking paying month after month, PPV after PPV, because they don't want to miss it. They don't want to be the guy who missed out on the final nude stuff. Most creators have the opposite problem. They show everything in week one, subs see it all, right? And I mean all. If there's nothing left to sell, they just churn away. LTV drops to 1 or 2 months. With Sophie's approach, LTV is insane because there's always something more to wait for, like a carrot on a stick in front of a donkey. Now, I'm not telling you to make all your creators non-nude. That's not the point. The point is perceived value and scarcity. Even if your creator does explicit content, most of them do, ours as well, hold something back. There has to be a next level the sub just hasn't unlocked yet. You remember this, if you play GTA, right? You keep playing, but when you finish the story, what do? Fuck around in cars for 10 minutes and close the game? If there's nothing left in the mission, if there's nothing left that makes it even better, what are you even in there for? That's what keeps them paying. Do you understand that? That's what makes the chatting work. And it's what most agencies completely fail at because they just dump everything on the feed and in the first script in week one and then wonder why nobody buys PPVs. So let me make this painfully real for your agency because this is where most people lose millions and they never realize it. They think they have some chatter problem, but they don't. Sophie Rain has a subscriber. His name is apparently Charlie. And this guy spent somewhere between $4.7 and $6 million in her account. One person. Assuming that is true, which 50-50, let me just put that into perspective. That single sub represents about 10% of our annual revenue. One guy out of like 500K. This isn't unique to Sophie. If you've been in OFM long enough, you know whales exist. You know they make up a good portion of the revenue. What most agencies don't have is a system to identify them, nurture them, and keep them. They stumble into a big spender right, and then fuck it up because the chatter doesn't know how to handle someone who's dropping 50K a month. And the deeper you go in whale management, the more you realize this is where the real money lives. At Sophie's scale, one whale handled correctly is worth more than 10,000 regular subs. And the chatter on that account needs to be your absolute best person, not some random new hire who's been on the job for 2 weeks. Yes, sir, I'm starting to learn the scripts. No, this needs to be your special ops. This needs to be your SEAL Team 6. And a quick note for that. This whale stuff is exactly what we build with agencies inside OFM OS. If you're already doing 15K a month plus and want us to help design your chatting, whale, conversion, funnel, and marketing systems, the Telegram link's in the description. You can just send me a DM. But back to Sophie because we're not done yet. And remember, the content is just the front door. The system is what does the heavy lifting overall. Scarcity, perceived value, delayed gratification. These are systems you design and they work whether your creator is fully nude or posting in a fucking Spider-Man suit. Now it's time to get into the CEO moves. How she used collabs to grow and then just cut them off before they really cost her. Let's have a little flashback. Editor, put the screen black and white. Let's have a cinematic mood. All right. December 2024, Sophie Rain co-founds the Bob House with Aisha Sophie, right? Big content house, bunch of creators living together, making content, doing a podcast, collabing on everything. This feels like the good old times right now. From a marketing perspective, brilliant, right? Their TikTok hit like 1.3 million followers first month. Every creator cross-pollinated to the others. You watch one girl's video, you discover 3 more, you end up sub to all of them, and the infinite loop strategy I broke down in my second video. But here's what happened next, and I think it's the most interesting business decision she has made in all of 2025, because she left. July 2025, she just fucking bounced, right? Publicly said there were conflicts with Camila Araijo, like however you pronounce that scammer's name. The group was getting controlling and she was done filming with other OF creators. Now, Some people see this as drama, right? But let's not kid each other. That's just a pure business decision. She used the Bob post to grow. It worked, massive reach, massive exposure. And then the moment the collapse started threatening her individual brand and people were profiting off of her more, she just cut it. And again, I'm not attacking Sophie. I would probably do the same. That's not a bad move or anything. That's objectively smart. Now, here's the thing about collabs in OFM, all right? They're very, very effective for growth. We've done it in our own agency. We made a lot of money off of it. Not going to lie, but there is a ceiling. At the moment your creator's brand gets tied to group instead of standing on its own, you're losing control, because then you're a one-hit wonder and you can't function without the brand. And in this industry, brand control is everything. If your creator depends on another creator for reach, that is a dependency you probably don't want 99 of 100 times. Now, Sophie understood that. Grow with the group, leave when you're outgrown it, and use collabs as a tool, but not as your entire marketing strategy, and get lazy because you make subs. Most agencies never learn this. They either never collab at all, or they become so dependent on all the other creators, they can't stand alone. But both of them are the extremes, and they're both in the wrong. She didn't accidentally end up in a content house. She didn't accidentally leave. Every move is calculated. And again, re-recognize real. Like, props for that. That's a smart decision. The question is whether your moves are calculated or whether you're just reacting to whatever happens. Are you reactive or are you proactive? Write that down. That's some important shit. You should probably write that down. This is where she stops being just an OF creator and starts building a brand that doesn't need OF at all. Because August 2025, she donated like $1 million to Mr. B's like Team Water charity on a live stream of Aiden Ross. Every major outlet covered it, right? Variety, Complex, all of them. She went from OnlyFans girl to philanthropist in one news cycle. And then she started comparing her earnings to like LeBron James, told David Dobrik she was catching up to LeBron at like 82.9 million. And what happens when you compare yourself to the highest paid athlete in the world? Sports media has to cover you. Entertainment media has to cover you. You're out of the OnlyFans bubble. Now you're mainstream. You made it. Because I want you guys to understand something, all right? This year, this snooze box is the OF bubble. These are like the sexual reels. This is like the core OnlyFans bubble. Imagine that, right? Now, this here, around it, is the internet, the mainstream bubble. So you as a creator, not even on $100 million scale, but you being able to not be perceived as just a random OnlyFans girl, but actually do entertaining content, all of that stuff that we talk about on this channel, gets you from this market cap of potential people spending on you to this. Do you understand what I mean? Because to get back on topic, if OnlyFans disappears tomorrow, if they change terms, if they take a bigger cut, software is just fine. 27 mil social followers, mainstream press coverage, like a brand that transcends from the platform. She moves to Fansly the next day, entire audience follows. It's not a problem. She just makes Fansly famous now. And this is the long game most agencies never think about. You're also focused on like subs that you make today. You forget to build the creator's brand for tomorrow, future selling. Am I right? So what happens when your creator's IG gets banned and you have no TikTok, no Twitter, no YouTube? You're fucked. So what happens when OnlyFans changes the fee structure, right? You have to eat the loss. You're at the leash because you have no leverage. Sophie Rain has leverage. Your creators probably don't. And that's a problem you want to solve before it's too late, not after. So here's what all of this looks like when you strip the celebrity away and just apply to a normal agency, right? Of course, you can't just say you have the same earnings as LeBron James, right? This is a breakdown of a system that works at 100 million, but also works at 30K a month. The scale is different for sure, but the principles are super identical. First, you stop thinking about subs as your main revenue and start treating your chatting as the money machine that it is. If it's 86% chatting at Sophie's level, the ratio isn't much different at yours. It's probably way fucking higher. You just haven't optimized it, right? Second of all, you build the funnel before you need it. So let's say social presence, content library, welcome sequences, chatting team, all of it needs to be ready before virality hits, not after. You know how many people DM me say, yeah, I got a viral video, but we didn't make any subs, we didn't make any more money, what happened? I can tell you what happened. You weren't ready for it. You weren't fucking ready. It's like going into a UFC fight without ever doing wrestling. Like, you're gonna get smashed, brother. Because Sophie was ready for her Spider-Man moment. Are you ready for your creator's Spider-Man moment? If you're super brutally honest with yourself, you aren't. And you wouldn't want that right now. Now, third of all, you design scarcity into everything. even if your creator does explicit content, right? There's always a next level, always something they haven't seen, always a reason they sub for 1 month, right? And you need to keep that, whether it's a certain tape, whether it's certain pictures, you need to keep that. And fourth, you identify and protect your whales. Know who your big spenders are, put your best chatters on them, and build emotional connections for years. One whale who feels valued is worth 500 random subs who just churn in the first month. And fifth of all, you build the creator's brand beyond the platform. TikTok, IG, Twitter, YouTube, whatever it fits. If the only thing that your creator has going for her is the OF page or like one IG account, you're just one ban away from zero and working at Chipotle. And I know what some of you are thinking. Fair, right? This is a lot of work. Is it though? Or it's just the right things in the right order instead of just randomly posting and praying something works. So that's the Sophie Rain scaling machine. It's not luck. It's not just being hot because, like, is she? A systematically built funnel from 27 million followers into 500k subs into a chatting operation that does 86% of the revenue. It is a scarcity-driven content strategy, meaning, like we already talked about, whale management, collabs, mainstream brand building. Every single piece is designed and it's connected on purpose. So if you want this build in your agency, instead of just fantasizing about some Sophie numbers, click the Telegram link in the description, send me the word Sophie, and I'll send you a short breakdown of the chat, whale, and funnel systems we covered in our research. Now, if it makes sense for where you're at and you're doing at least 50k a month, we'll potentially invite you into OFMOS, which is a 12-week implementation sprint where we build these systems with you week by week with every single stage. Now, we cap new agencies each month, so don't sit on it. Now, to be great, study the grades, and everyone can learn just a bit from Sophie.